Brandon Paetzell at 133 faces Chaz Tucker. We mentioned Yianni Diakomihalis, #1 in the country at 141 pounds, going up against Ryan Pomrinca. And this duel could come down to 149 pounds with Jonathan Furnas of Cornell and Cortlandt Schuyler of Lehigh.
Yeah, with the late additions at 165, 174, Santoro, Berreyesa, no relation to Pat Santoro, but that makes this duel meet much more interesting today.
That certainly does. Captains meeting for the coin toss. Nathan Chapman, the man in charge. Jesse Rawls Jr. is the mat assistant for this EIWA duel. Love to see two officials for these big duels. They had them last night for Bucknell, and again this afternoon for Cornell. So wrestling begins at 157 pounds this afternoon. It'll be Fredy Stroker for Cornell by way of the University of Minnesota, and for the Mountain Hawks of Lehigh, a freshman out of Parkersburg South High School, Josh Humphreys. Here's a look at their season records, and Humphreys, as we mentioned, took the loss last night, had a really tough battle going at 157 pounds and wound up dropping his match by fall, got caught in a cradle in the third period, so looking to kind of right the ship against Fredy Stroker, who has a phenomenal high school resume.
Josh Humphreys, the plan was for him to redshirt this year, and with all the injuries happening in the lineup, he actually went to Coach Santoro and said, listen, I want to help this team. I need to be in the lineup. And he's been a real pleasant surprise for Lehigh as a true freshman this year.
So we're underway here at 157 pounds, first of 10 weight classes between Lehigh and Cornell. Cornell has dominated EIWA wrestling over the last decade plus. The Mountain Hawks able to snap Cornell's streak of team titles at the EIWA tournament last season. Humphreys in on a counter shot here.
Boy, caught him stepping right into that shot. Great timing.
Trying to finish around the back, and Humphreys gets two quickly to that side headlock. You hear the side headlock count from the referee Nathan Chapman, and that means Humphreys had to release that within 5 seconds, and he's now going to work on top with a 2-0 lead.
Stroker almost kicked him right off over the top there. Humphreys doing a great job of holding on to that Merkle, staying in control, coming back and throwing the legs in here, building up some good riding time here against a very good Fredy Stroker, an exceptional high school wrestler who had a phenomenal career, highly recruited, and ended up at Cornell.
Power half is stopped for being potentially dangerous, or they called injury time. So it's, there you heard the imminent near fall. So here's a look on the takedown with Humphreys, and then, as you mentioned, Scott going right into that Merkle.
Yeah, did a great job of recovering there, going looking for a cradle, and booted both of those legs in where he power halved him over here, and you saw Stroker right here on bottom for Cornell in the red, just sort of tapping out here. Obviously, it looks like it might be a previous injury.
Yeah. From
the way that he reacted. It doesn't appear that that's the type of response that makes me wonder if he's going to be able to continue.
Yeah, it's a good point. And you heard Nathan Chapman call two near fall for imminent back points. He had not counted any back points yet, but obviously they were coming. So with the stoppage of the match for an injured wrestler, those two near fall points are awarded. Rob Call taking a look at his 157-pounder, Fredy Stroker. And
now on paper, you have Humphreys ranked 17th in the country. You would think it's Lehigh's a slight favorite here, and maybe they are, but both of these wrestlers very good. I consider this a toss-up match.
Well, he's going to default, it looks like. He's unable to continue, so bonus points for Lehigh. Not the way you want to see a wrestler earn bonus points, but the time of the injury default will come at 1 minute and 21 seconds of period number 1. Stroker will go get some medical attention. The Mountain Hawks with a 6-0 lead in the team score thanks to that. Here's another look at that power half that resulted in the injury to Stroker.
Yeah, watch it. Humphreys cranking this owner, and you could see Stroker in immediate pain right away off of that, grabbing his shoulder. It looks like he probably could have continued if this was maybe the postseason, but you could see, I think Rob Cole, head coach at Cornell, saying, you know what, we want to make sure our guys are healthy for the postseason. They've been getting hit recently with the injury bug like Lehigh has earlier this year.
So we move on to 165 pounds, and it's Gordon Wolf for Lehigh, Adam Santoro for Cornell. Wolf had a wild one last night against Bucknell, wound up winning, ironically, by injury default. His opponent went out with a head injury. But Wolf was winning quite handily at that moment of the match. This, Scott, a matchup that we were not expecting to see tonight. We were looking for maybe John J. Chavez coming into the lineup for Cornell as these two scramble into what should be a stalemate. As Wolf is trying to roll underneath here, the danger count, he bellies down.
Still got nothing.
And this is what you're going to see when you watch Gordon Wolf wrestle from Lehigh. Very funky.
Somehow gets two out of that. He looked like he was the wrestler in most danger and winds up getting the first takedown of this bout. A little bit under a minute into the action here. They'll give up the escape, so it's 2-1. And as we mentioned, Santoro in for John J. Chavez, who is a returning NCAA All-American, but just not quite ready to get back into the lineup for Cornell yet. Has not wrestled yet this year.
You know, they took him to the South, the South Beach Duels over the holidays, thinking they might be getting a match, and he didn't get his first match of the season. We thought we were going to see him today. So this actually opens up a great opportunity for Lehigh. Started off the season ranked between as high as number 5 in the country before they got all of these injury problems. Cornell currently ranked 7th. It's not inconceivable for Lehigh to knock them off today.
No question about it. And if you have this dual meet a month and a half from now, it could be completely different with guys returning to the lineup or guys leaving the lineup. So it's just the timing of everything. When Lehigh wrestled all their tough opponents that are, top 10 teams, they rarely had a full lineup, if any, full lineup against them.
And these teams are such big rivalries that really doesn't matter whether the team's healthy, unhealthy, how high they're ranked, how low. A win against Cornell, a win against Lehigh for Cornell is a big feather in your cap for that season in the dual meet.
A shot here by Santoro. Wolf trying to counter off of it.
Nothing.
Santoro trying to turn. Look at those hips from Wolf, though. Throws a leg in and gets two. And has that arm trapped.
I was just about to say that the worst thing Santoro could do is actually shoot in on the leg of Gordon. And that was a beautiful shot. Probably 98% of the time, any wrestler in college is going to score that offensive leg attack. But Gordon is not your typical wrestler.
He finishes the period on top, takes a 6-2 lead with a minute 28 of advantage time.
Freeze down.
And he'll go down. Here's a look at this counter takedown by Wolf. Coming out the back, pretty simple there, and then he had a little more funky of a takedown to close out the scoring in the first period.
Set. Caution green. Green, you're coming up before the whistle.
False start there on Wolf. His first caution.
Set,
mentioned having a Cornell duel being a feather in your cap for the season.
Green set. Cover legal
due to the dominance of Cornell, both on an individual and a team level. You look at Rob Cole on the bench there. In his career, Pat Santoro just 2-6-1 all time against Cornell. As Wolf gets out, makes it a 7-2 match here early on in the second period.
Excellent re-attack by Gordon Wolf. Nice sweep single. Great counter by Santoro.
He got poked in the eye, it looks like, or something. Wolf down in a heap right in front of the Lehigh bench, and his blood.
Green.
And he is writhing in pain. I don't know if he caught an elbow or something in that scramble, but this is blood time for Wolf. Here's a look at this scramble, Scott, and we'll see if we can see anything. Watch the elbow maybe of Santoro as they separate. Oh, the head. Yep. Got him with the top of his head right in the nose. was like an uppercut, and Wolf down for the count right now. Right now, this being treated as a blood timeout, not a concussion protocol timeout. Here it is, boom. I mean, that's a direct hit.
You know, before the match began, we talked about the starting at 157, which was sort of an awkward place to start this dual meet.
And Scott, just real quick, we're going to go into concussion protocol here with Wolf. So they've stopped the blood timeout, and they've just indicated a concussion protocol. So he's going to go back to the locker room, and they're going to run him through the concussion protocol. So this is an indefinite timeout that we have right now.
So this would be a good time to maybe talk about a few of those things, right? 157, yeah. That benefits Lehigh, I think, going into this match, because with Humphreys starting off, Gordon, Wolf, two guys out at 65 and 74. Lehigh could put a lot of points on the board and go into the break with a lead in this dual meet, as long as Gordon Wolf can be cleared and come back and wrestle.
Last night was actually the first time in their dual meets all season that Lehigh had the lead at intermission, which is unbelievable. 59 individual EIWA champions and 3 Olympians. So that's Billy Sheridan in a nutshell, as we await the return of Gordon Wolf as we are on this concussion protocol timeout. It's a new rule that went in a couple years ago in the NCAA, and I think a good one, because if you have a head injury, because typically an injury timeout or a blood timeout, you're getting right back into it. But, you know, Adam Santoro, who wasn't even necessarily expecting to wrestle today for Cornell, is out there and just kind of hanging out, trying to stay loose. Hasn't put any warm-ups or anything back on, but is just anxiously awaiting word from the locker room whether Gordon Wolf will return or not.
I really like the way that he's come out and competed against Gordon Wolf. He's really going out and attacking. Unfortunately, that's not always the best strategy, because Gordon Wolf is such a great scrambler that he uses that against you. And so I really like the way that he's competing. It's much more fun for wrestling. I'm looking down there in the Cornell corner. What a great staff they have. You know, we talk about Yianni at 141 potentially becoming the first 4-time NCAA champion. And they got I don't see him on the sideline anywhere, but their 4-timer world champion this year, Kyle Dake. What a phenomenal person to have on staff. They have Max Dean's older brother, 3-time NCAA champion.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can see him there. He was just out here. But what a great staff that they have as well at Cornell. And this is what's been the powerhouse for the EIWA. Now Princeton entered that conversation.
Sure.
Former All-American Chris Ayers, first time ever knocking off Lehigh as a head coach this year in a duel earlier this year.
They beat North Carolina last night, too, another nationally ranked team. So good win for Chris Ayers. On the left of the screen, the Lehigh bench. On the right of the screen, the Cornell bench. And those are the two powerhouses in the EIWA. And throughout the years, the schools compare pretty favorably. Lehigh have 28 NCAA champions, most recently Randy Cruz in 2017, and 20 for Cornell. And we mentioned Yianni Diakomihalis last year. 150 NCAA All-Americans for Lehigh, 84 for Cornell. 35 team titles, the most in EIWA history for Lehigh. Cornell is number 2 in that department with 25, including a whole bunch in a row, as you see at the bottom of your screen there, as Lehigh and Cornell have combined to win the last 17 since 2002. Cornell won, what was it, 11 in a row, 07 to 17, and Lehigh winning last year.
The statistics on both sides for both of those teams are incredible for small private universities to be able to do that well on a national level against the big powerhouses. I know you probably recognize this as soon as you said it, but you said Randy Cruz.
Oh,
Darian Cruz.
Thank you, yes.
Randy was Darian's older brother, an All-American at Lehigh as
That's
well.
Right. Yeah, Darian winning the title a couple years ago for Lehigh. Got back to the tournament last year and did not get into that national final for the Mountain Hawks. So,
but he's still here. He's sticking around. He's training with their RTC, training for the Olympics. Randy Cruz just finished up the master's degree. He went on to a very good job. So those guys do well after graduation.
Welcome back, Gordon Wolf, from the concussion protocol. So we're back together, and we're wrestling in the neutral position. Wolf with a 7-2 lead, as he has been determined fit to continue in his match here against Adam Santoro. Mountain Hawks leading the team score 6-0. Injury default win for Josh Humphreys in the first period against Fredy Stroker. And Wolf and Santoro in an entertaining battle here between these 165-pounders. Oh, Wolf got caught and will give up 2. No backs, however, as that was almost a real funky takedown for Santoro.
Great head outside single, and when he left to take him to the mat, Gordon Wolf tried to do almost a Granby roll and almost got stuck in pin there. Gordon Wolf now with a reversal to make it 9-4, but you gotta let, you know, Santoro's out there wrestling to win, not just to keep this close, and that's a lot of fun to watch.
And you know Wolf is not gonna just shut it down. He is such a wide open wrestler regardless of score that it's gonna be exciting. He's gonna try to get bonus points here for Lehigh, holding a 5-point lead now with a whole bunch of riding time. Under 30 seconds to wrestle in the second period. He'll go out of bounds now.
And the more you wrestle, and the more aggressive you are at Wolf, the more it benefits him. Right there you see Santoro almost stuck him on that Granby roll when he was going through. Here you're going to see, I think, the reversal coming for Gordon Wolf here.
Yeah, fighting through that crossface and just kind of came out the back door for 2 more points. Off the restart, Santoro tripoding up, tries to hit a quick switch, and he'll get his 1 with 10 seconds to go.
Didn't really have the leg in like he needed, but you know, Gordon Wolf's going to always push it. He's going to push the limit. He's going to go for it. That's what's it's a lot of fun to watch him wrestle.
On to the third period. Cornell will choose bottom. Wolf with a 9-5 lead.
Green, you have 1 caution, Green.
1:52 of advantage time for Wolf.
Red is set, green, cover legal. Set.
Off the restart, Wolf went into a little bit of a crab ride there.
So you might be seeing a little bit of a change in the wrestling here. I think Wolf's going to really be trying to push hard on top, getting back points to get that major decision. Santoro might slow it down, wrestle a little smarter, and start wrestling for his team here. Unless he can close this gap. He's only down 9-5.
Riding time very close to being clinched for Wolf in this back as he goes to a little tilt on the border, and they'll go out of bounds, still in control. Wolf on top, 1:26 to wrestle, has a 4-point lead. Wasn't sure if there was a little conversation between Wolf and the bench about maybe cutting him and trying to take him down a couple of times to get into that bonus point territory.
Santoro doing a good job of not allowing Wolf to get those legs in too deep on him. Great defense on bottom. I still think this might be his best bet in terms of scoring back points, but from the top position.
Now down to a minute to wrestle. Grace Hall crowd urging on Wolf to try to get him earn some back points here.
Work to improve, fellas. Working to improve.
This is a tough position here because if I'm on bottom, I'm not coming up out of my base with 2 legs in. You're going to get cranked, and that's wrestling smart. The ref may see it as stalling, but you cannot come up on bottom with 2 legs in.
Wolf working a half from the left side. Santoro to his feet. Hits a standing switch, comes around the back. Wolf is still in control.
Still green control.
Now 15
I would have thought there
seconds.
was enough break in the action to warrant a 1-point escape, but you hold it and you wait to see if this ends up in a stalemate because he completely separated from him on that switch.
Comes out here and we'll get the 1 right at the buzzer. So with riding time, it'll be a 10-6 final for Gordon Wolf. And Lehigh with a 9-0 lead after 2 weight classes. 4 takedowns and a reversal for Wolf. A match that took a long time to complete because of the concussion protocol, but Wolf is 2-0 on the weekend for the Mountain Hawks. So on we go to 174 pounds, our third bout of the afternoon. Andrew Berreyesa for Cornell, and number 5 ranked Jordan Kutler. You see the records there. Berreyesa 10-2, Kutler 9-3. Major decision last night for Kutler, had 10 takedowns in his bout against Bucknell. NCAA 6th place finish for Kutler last year, an EIWA championship on the resume as well, a 2-time Prep National champion from Blair Academy, Sparta, New Jersey. This is Berryesa's dual debut for Cornell. All his matches have been in tournaments so far this season with that 10-2 record.
Well, and we were talking to the crew from Cornell a little bit earlier, sports information telling us about Berreyesa. Likes to go upper body.
Yes.
Likes to go for some big things. Now, Kutler's one of those guys that doesn't come out of position a lot, but I think that's Cornell's game plan here against Kutler. I mean, if you could potentially catch him in a throw and get a 4-6 point lead right off the bat, that's probably your best bet at beating a Kutler. But he's been as consistent as just about anybody in the program.
A very steady season for Kutler. And he seems content to engage upper body as well with Berreyesa. Freshman out of Reno, Nevada.
Offense, fellas, offense.
3 weight classes. I don't think we haven't seen a Pennsylvania wrestler yet.
That's correct, we haven't, which is a rarity in the EIWA. We'll have plenty in this dual meet, but just not yet. Again, the upper body ties continue. No real deep shot attempts by either of these wrestlers 2 minutes into the opening period at 174 pounds.
Kutler being extremely patient, getting a feel here for what type of attack and setup he wants to utilize, I think. And he's very strategic when he wrestles in that way.
Kutler's had his back to the center of the circle for the better part of this first period as he forces Berreyesa to the boundary. Now they'll go back to the middle portion of the mat.
That's a great point, Kyle, and this is a great opportunity for him to, at least if it's going to be a low-scoring match, get that stall warning against your opponent. That could be huge when you're in top and bottom going into this third period.
Ankle pick attempt there.
Another shot right out of bounds there.
I was going to say if he could shoot him out, maybe a stalling warning there, but Berreyesa kind of sensed where he was on the mat, worked back toward the center, and will end the first period scoreless. First first period of the afternoon. Cutler's going to go down to start things off here.
He's a good wrestler to press against for Kutler because he hasn't really demonstrated that he's going to drop below that pressure and drop into a leg attack, which is one of the things you worry about. As long as he's not in an upper body tie when he's pressing.
They gave 1 and 2 on that as Kutler kind of broke and then dove right back in on the double leg to take down Berreyesa. A little careless release there by the Cornell wrestler.
Great combination wrestling for Kutler.
So a 3-0 lead for the Mountain Hawks here at 174 pounds. This was projected to be a matchup of Kutler and Brandon Womack. As Kutler working that bar and one-on-one right on the edge. They'll go out of bounds.
I'll tell you what, I really love those Adidas wrestling shoes he's wearing.
Just about
with
to
the
say
Lehigh
that.
Mountain Hawks on it.
Yep.
Maybe we can get a close-up of those later.
Yeah, so they gave an escape and a takedown. No challenge from Cornell on that.
If that was any quicker, I think they would have given him a reversal. Just
Optional
barely.
Start, Red.
He
You're
nailed
set.
that.
Cover. Set.
Optional start.
Stay
Kutler
or neutral.
will let him fly, and it's 3-1. I was going to mention this was supposed to be that rematch of Brandon Womack and Kutler, who have wrestled a couple of times last year. Kutler the takedown here, and now a 5-1 lead.
What a
Womack,
beautiful
though,
counter to that leg attack by Berreyesa, and Kutler was all over that. He anticipated that while it was happening.
now going to work up on top. A lot of pressure.
Keep that legal. Do not take that outside the body.
That's Nathan Chapman talking about the hammerlock on the back there, where Kutler has that left arm of Berreyesa kind of trapped on the back.
Keep that inside the body.
Can't lift.
Keep it legal.
Can't lift it off the back. Crowd wants a stalling call here. I don't know if they're going to get one in this position.
This is a good opportunity to just kill some time on the clock, build up that riding time, and maybe look to get that major decision for the team in the third period.
Yeah, well over a minute of advantage time now here for Kutler. He'll end the period with over 90 seconds of advantage time and a 5-1 lead going to the third period. It would be interesting to see if Berreyesa chooses bottom here after dealing with that for 2 minutes. And there's Kutler's takedown.
I think that was a great call for him.
Optional
Take
start,
the easy
Red.
point. You know he's probably going to cut him.
You're set. Cover. Set.
Kutler does a lot of his wrestling on his feet.
Escape. We're out. We're neutral.
So that makes it 5-2 favor Kutler. Ankle pick is a beauty, and that's a takedown for Kutler. He's going to play the takedown game, it looks like, here in the third period. Berreyesa not wanting to cooperate and gets hit with a stalling warning.
Kutler wrestling very smart, seeing things as they're coming after him. That was a great level change into that.
Duck under there for 2. Another takedown.
And he's got him broken a little bit physically and mentally here, and he's picking them apart.
Berreyesa again not coming up. So Kutler says, fine, I'll throw a
I think
cradle
he
on
has
you.
a cradle locked up there.
He does, lost the grip.
He's got to go back to his feet. He got the stall call on his feet. He's gotten 2 easy takedowns.
They did not award the escape there. So Kutler just says, let's go neutral.
Look at that.
Yep.
Beautiful. Drops into that, almost an ankle pick single. Very Kale-esque. Sanderson-esque.
There's the duck under for his next takedown. He's given Berreyesa the free release, so it's 9-4. Riding time is clinched. So a takedown and a ride out would give a major decision point for Lehigh.
And this is kind of where Iowa would always take advantage of you. You get a stall call. You don't want to get hit again. So you end up taking like terrible shots just to do something to not get hit, and the other opponent picks you apart. Very good wrestling here by Kutler. 11-4. He's got the riding time, making it a major.
Now looking for back points, working on that right side. Stalling warning and a penalty point awarded to Kutler.
And that's the one you want, because if he gets up, gets an escape, you still get the major here. So he's just going to ride him out here, wrestle smart.
He had 10 takedowns last night in his major decision win over Bucknell. 5 takedowns on the ledger today for Jordan Kutler, and with riding time, a dominating 13-4 major decision victory over Andrew Berreyesa of Cornell, and Lehigh now leads it 13-0 after 3 matches.
If somebody would have told you Lehigh is wrestling Cornell today and they'd be up 13-0 after 3 matches, would you believe them?
Probably not. And I think the starting weight class certainly helped Lehigh in that regard, having Humphreys, Wolf, and Kutler to start this duel, but still, pretty impressive showing from the Mountain Hawks. Injury default win, a hard-fought decision for Gordon Wolf, and a major decision for Jordan Kutler, as the Mountain Hawks sitting pretty going into 184, where Cornell will be favored here. Max Dean, the sophomore, 9-4 against Chris Weiler. Ryan Price not yet ready for the Mountain Hawks. Dean ranked number 9 in the country, a sophomore out of Lowell, Michigan. He's 8th in the NCAA last year, pinned by Ryan Price in the EIWA finals. And a 2-time Michigan State champion, which does not include missing his entire junior year because of an injury.
I'm going to correct myself from earlier when I was talking about his older brother, Gabe Dean. I mentioned he was a 3-time NCAA champion. He was a 2-time champion. He got beat by Bo Nickel in the finals, which was a phenomenal matchup.
Fingers, get out of that grip.
But Max Dean having a heck of a season so far.
Yes,
really
he has.
stepped it up.
So Chris Weiler did not wrestle long last night for Lehigh. In fact, as of right now, the match would have been over. He had a takedown into a cradle for a pin just about 40 seconds into the match last night at 184 pounds, but having to do a little bit of work here against Dean as they scramble, both with a hold of each other's ankle. Dean kind of using the tricep of Weiler as a kick plate there to try to get some separation.
And that was a great shot by Chris Weiler. Who would have ever thought 20 years ago that a lot of wrestling today, even in the upper weights, most wrestlers would end up on the other opponent's ankles most of the time.
Now it's Dean coming out around back. Weiler still hanging on underneath. No 2 has been awarded yet.
That knee isn't just good. That's not going to bend that way.
No. Yeah, good shot there down low, looking at that. So a stalemate called with 1:24 to wrestle in the opening period. Back to standing.
Fingers.
Here's, as you said, the knee should not bend this way.
Yeah, Dean.
And what was incredible in that whole scramble, there was no neutral danger call at all because the wrestlers knew exactly where they were and were not exposing their backs. You'll hear that call from time to time today from Nathan Chapman. If a wrestler is in a scramble situation from neutral and his shoulders are past 90 degrees being held there, and after 3 seconds it becomes a takedown with back points.
And you know, they allow these scrambles to go a lot longer than they've used to, which is, I think, is great for the sport, because a lot of wrestlers used to utilize those as a stalling tactic.
Oh, wow, what a job by Dean. Looked like he was certainly going to give up 2, and now he's coming out back looking for another takedown of his own. 30
I didn't
seconds
expect
here.
Dean to be able to scramble this well, and he's been doing a phenomenal job so far, both of them.
And another stalemate. 21 seconds to go. Great action here despite no points between Max Dean and Chris Weiler. Look at this last scramble.
Posts him up here, does everything right, steps over, hooks the ankle, pushes the far knee, tries to clear his head. But Dean just doing an outstanding job of countering Weiler here. Both of them wrestling well.
Closing seconds of the first period here. And it looks like it will be scoreless after 3 minutes.
If I'm Lehigh, I like what I see out of Weiler so far.
Green's down.
He's been the attacker. He's been the aggressor. Yeah. He's just got to keep that up. He's going to have to finish a little bit quicker.
Green.
You have to wonder, too, the mindset of Max Dean coming into this match, maybe leading up to this weekend, expecting maybe a chance to get a reversal for Weiler there, a chance to get maybe some revenge. No stalling called there as Dean found the boundary. We'll go back to the middle. But a chance to maybe get some revenge against Ryan Price. And now all of a sudden, hey, we don't have Price out there, so it's Weiler, and maybe you're not as revved up for a match as Dean might be.
The referees are coming over to the table. I'm not sure if they're... Okay. I thought maybe they were going to take a look at that to see if he was locking hands. I didn't see any of that.
Yeah, they were. I think it was a question on whether the advantage time clock started immediately for Weiler after he got the reversal, and they've indicated that it is correct. There's the cradle from Weiler. Oh, what a roll through by Dean. It was almost a carbon copy of last night for Weiler. And
this is where he's going
to
to help himself in this match. Fighting hard on top. He may not get back points, but riding him, building up that riding time is going to be crucial.
Out of bounds they go, back to the center.
This would be a huge victory for Lehigh here if they can win at 184.
Here's the almost cradle. Lightning quick, but just could not get it trapped for back points there.
Yeah, that Dean family strength showed itself there.
Dean gets to his feet. Little mat return here by Weiler. Gets himself in a little bit of trouble. Cornell calling for the 2, but look at that. Weiler comes out somehow without giving up the reversal. There's neutral 1 called.
And that was a great no call by the referee.
Yep.
But I'll tell you what, Dean ended up earning it.
Yeah,
it ended up being better for him, getting the 1 and the 2.
So a little bit of a 3-point move of sorts there for Dean. Now starting to eat into the riding time of Chris Weiler. 40 seconds to wrestle in the second period. Cornell in search of their first individual win this afternoon as Lehigh has a 13-0 lead on the team score. Dean really riding hard on top.
Yeah, and this is so critical right here that Weiler gets a point escape or a reversal here. And I'm not a real big fan of this position here, but it's a tight one. And Max Dean looking to secure that top position here.
Yeah, those kind of step over legs that Dean using there, he's kind of reaching back and reinforcing. Here's the takedown, by the way. Put a big strain on your knee, your ankle, and your lower back, but a little bit more leeway with that at the NCAA level.
184 pounds, scores 3-2, going into the third. What's the likeliness that neither wrestler at this weight scored a takedown?
That's a very good point.
So 4-2 now.
Dean gets that escape. So Weiler's going to need a takedown at some point here as they head toward the scorer's table right in front of us. And out they go. Minute 29 to go here.
Both of these wrestlers have exceptional hips, and they know how to use them to their fullest extent. It's going to be tough for Weiler to get in on a leg here.
Yeah, he kind of whiffed on that shot, and Dean pounces on the counter quickly. Gets the takedown, looking good now with a 6-2 lead.
And I was just about to say he's got to find a way, and that wasn't the way to get into it. He's going to have to take his time and make better setups.
Deep single here for Weiler, but a little bit stretched out. Kind of parallel to the mat, and a stalemate is called relatively quickly, and that'll allow Weiler a chance to get back on his feet. Here's that shot attempt. Dean turns into a takedown of his own.
Wow, great movement. Look at that by Weiler too, just scooting around. He knows exactly where he is. One thing about Dean that's very impressive defensively on his feet is he can scramble very well if a guy gets a leg, but he's also excellent.
Well, there's a challenge upcoming for Lehigh there, I think. You heard the danger call from Nathan Chapman. Now they're going to put the brick back down. Pat Santoro had it in his hand to challenge.
I'd challenge it. I don't understand why that would be a
Chris Weiler saying throw the brick. Get one a duel. Oh, and Nathan Chapman says you can't challenge it. So I guess maybe that's not a challengeable call. That neutral danger, once Weiler's shoulders were exposed, you heard the verbal and visual count there by Chapman, and after 3 seconds, it's automatically a takedown.
You might not know the answer to this, but I don't understand why he wouldn't be able to challenge it.
I guess that's since it's like a judgment type call by the official. You know, if he does the 3 seconds.
I think he gave Coach Santoro, did him a favor, because I don't think it would have been reversed.
No, I would agree. It would be very tough to reverse that call. And the thing that makes the call not look great is immediately after that danger call is over, Weiler's nowhere near being taken down by Dean because they separated. But at the moment, based on those rules, it appeared to be the right call. And it'll end up 8-4 final here at 184 pounds. Cornell wins their first bout of the dual meet as Max Dean picks up his 10th win of the season.
Great effort. Dean looked a little bit crisper in that third period, and that was a difference in this dual meet. But he went out and competed very well against the number 10 ranked guy in the country.
Patriot League Network, we'd like to welcome all of you watching this afternoon with Lehigh and Cornell. Service Electors coverage on the Patriot League Network. Our next broadcast comes your way on Wednesday at 7 o'clock as the Lehigh men's basketball team welcomes in American University on the Patriot League Network.
Another great matchup here at 197. Two pretty evenly contested guys here coming out for both teams. A very important match to win that might help determine the outcome of this dual meet.
Jake Jakobsen for Lehigh and Ben Honis for Cornell. Honis, a senior from Syracuse, New York, Jamesville DeWitt High School. Jakobsen from Stroudsburg High School. Monroe County's all-time leader in wins in high school wrestling, 146-23 in his career, including a state championship and a runner-up finish.
Both wrestlers built pretty similarly coming out here. Both guys attacking the heads, trying to get some hand control.
Last night it was Kyle Gentili for Lehigh, who wrestled at 197 pounds. He went up on the short end of a 3-1 loss to Drew Phipps, gave up a takedown right at the end of the match to drop that decision. So Jakobsen gets the call today. And Honis, his opponent, EIWA third, is a sophomore with a 30-16 record that season. Career 55-31. Has had a tougher time breaking into the lineup the last couple of seasons.
Lehigh with two solid guys here to be able to put out. Same at 184 with Weiler and Price. Nice to have that good backup. But both of these guys have been ranked in the top 15 already this year. Gentili and Jakobsen.
1 minute to go on the court.
And as we found out this year for Lehigh, depth, you can never have too much of it. With injuries and back-to-back duels and things like that, it gives you a really nice opportunity. In fact, Lehigh has yet to, this year, and I believe this is their 9th dual meet, they have yet to use the same lineup in consecutive dual meets this year and have had 21 different wrestlers suit up in a dual meet this season.
That's incredible.
30 seconds.
And with all that happening, they may end up knocking off the number 5 team in the country today.
Right, exactly. And you know, any Cornell fan will tell you this is not the full A team for Cornell because of some injuries and other issues, but it's not the full A team for Lehigh either.
This is a must. They got to get this match here, and then hopefully at heavyweight, because when they hit the light weights at Cornell, they're going to have to watch giving up bonus points in this duel. You see Jakobsen with a late takedown attack.
Ran out of time and real estate right at the end of the period. A really nice shot, and that's something that he's probably putting in the back of his mind to come back to a little bit later on. Here's a look at the attempted finish. And
Jakobsen really reminds me a lot of John Trench. You know, I'm not saying that obviously he's at that level, but the physique, the way he can change levels, he has the potential to really, and he has the style to open up like John was able to do as a wrestler here at Lehigh.
Going to work on top here a little bit. He's got Honis crunched up a little bit there on the top. Lehigh wrestles really well from the top. At least they have so far in this dual meet. Riding hard. No near fall points yet. Or excuse me, one set of near fall for Lehigh in the first bout that was stopped because of the injury default, but they have made life pretty miserable for Cornell underneath, and that's going to be a stalemate call. 39 seconds of advantage time for Jakobsen on the clock.
Yeah, traditionally you didn't usually see as many leg riders at Lehigh as you do today, but I also think that the sport evolved, and with all the scrambles that are happening out there today, you've got to be able to know how to ride legs and how to defend legs.
Even as a 197-pounder,
exactly,
which you would not have said, as you mentioned, 20 or so years ago.
But you know, as much as Lehigh's been depleted this year, they have solid guys in the lineup here. Humphreys is having a great year. Jakobsen ranked. Gentili's been in and out of the lineup. Kutler's good.
Honis
Wood's good.
Gets the reversal there, and Jakobsen gets the escape, but lost the advantage time. It's under a minute now, 58 seconds as they're on their feet. 35 to wrestle in the second period. 2-1 lead for Honis. Went long range with that shot attempt. Jakobsen trying to counter, get a takedown of his own. Pretty important 20 seconds here in this bout as we close out the second period. And Jakobsen's going to yield the takedown to Honis. And it'll be a 4-1 lead for the Cornell wrestler going into the third period.
That was a situation where I felt he should have fought that leg attack and sprawled, broke his grip, released to a front headlock, and maybe try, instead of trying to create a scramble there. I could be wrong, but I think that's maybe what he needed to do here.
Well, this is the reversal as the legs slipped out a little bit there for Jakobsen. And then here's the takedown.
So they got in very deep there, and he had an opportunity to get to his sprawl. On top, he's really, it's not as much as Honis is doing a great job. He's actually capitalizing on Jakobsen's mistakes so far.
That's true. You look at the reversal and the takedown, both kind of.
Jakobsen got way too high on that.
So an escape here for Jakobsen makes it 4-2. Riding time looks like it's not going to be a factor in this match as of right now, but Jakobsen's going to need a takedown to equalize.
And he has the ability to put another 26 seconds of riding time on if he can score a takedown here in the third period. This is a big, big toss-up matchup in this dual meet.
It'll be the last of the first half of our duel between Lehigh and Cornell right now. A 13-3 lead for Lehigh. And at this point, Jakobsen looking for that one good shot as he fends off the attack from Honis. Remember that single leg that he had in the first period at the end? This is a carbon copy of that. This time he's going to need to finish.
Honis does a really good job.
Wow. Great sprawl.
Great shot by Jakobsen. He did everything right. He brought it up to his feet, took away the scramble. But Honis does a great job of attacking that wrist, not allowing him to cut off to a double or to finish that shot. Really good wrestling there by Honis there.
6-2 lead. 20 seconds to go on the edge of the mat. They're still in. And just kind of wasting time right now. Honis just kind of chilling on top, looking at the clock, saying, I'm good. I'll stay here, and that's how the match is going to end. A 6-2 win for Ben Honis in a bit of a swing match. Cornell's second win, and they will go into intermission trailing Lehigh 13-6. We'll step aside from Lehman Turner Arena. When we return, a conversation with Bruce Haynes of the Hotel Bethlehem. Stay with us. Mountain Hawks leading at the break. From Vitali Arujau, but right now it's heavyweight time. Jordan Wood, who pinned his opponent last night, taking on Jeramy Sweany. These two are identically matched with weight. They were both 251 at the weigh-in today.
And Sweeney's probably doing his best wrestling ever in his career this year, but Jordan Wood is also improving year in and year out.
Just an unfortunate end to Wood's season last year at the NCAA tournament, looking like he was going to achieve All-America status as a freshman, but an injury derailed that trip to nationals. Exciting to see the NCAA tournament in Pittsburgh this year.
Yep, absolutely. That's my alma mater, and I'm excited to go back there and see that. Wood with a single leg there. Sweany sitting to his hip, trying to scoop behind. Wood in the white singlet with the mustache.
Sweeney's got a little facial hair as well. It's a very unheavyweight-like scramble occurring right now, 30 seconds into the match. First takedown always big and about, especially with heavyweight. Jordan Wood's calling for injury. He got his knee twisted up there. And they're going to award the 2-point takedown to Cornell. And once Wood hopefully returns to action here, position choice will be given to his opponent, Jeramy Sweany. Last thing Lehigh needs, another injury.
Absolutely, and you know what? It's tougher on these bigger guys. You don't see the flexibility like you do in the lighter middleweights. And for these big guys to be rolling around like that, grabbing ankles, twisting against the knees.
Watch the left knee of Wood there getting it. He's calling for injury, and Sweany kind of let him go when he heard that.
Smart wrestling by Sweany. Good exchange there to get the 2-point takedown. But you can see Jack Foley, the head trainer here at Lehigh, taking a look at that knee.
You see the clock at the top of your screen. That is the injury clock being counted down for Jordan Wood. And they're just going to talk to him a little bit. And now say we're good to go. So you got 42 seconds of injury time left. And Cornell's position choice after the injury will be bottom. That's a NCAA rule that some folks don't necessarily agree with, is that first injury time is position choice for your opponent.
And this is a good application of it right here. Maybe you could say it was a legitimate injury. It wasn't. Yeah. But where you get into trouble is when you start getting poked in the eye and you need to take injury time.
So Sweany gets the escape. So he's got a 3-0 lead a minute into this bout against Jordan Wood, nationally ranked number 5, sophomore from Boyertown High School, Gilbertsville, Pennsylvania. A little arm drag and takedown attempt there by Sweany, fended off by Wood.
Top great recruit coming out of high school. He had a lot of battles with Gable Stevenson from Minnesota, and those guys both met up earlier this year with Stevenson winning that one. But he's doing a great job for Lehigh, and if you're going to be down 3-0, he still has 6 minutes left in this match, 5.5 now to get back into it.
Stevenson has been the talk of the wrestling community this year, online and otherwise, with I guess we'll just say some antics that he's demonstrated on the mat. He is certainly an exciting wrestler to watch, but he loves to kind of play to the crowd.
You know, he does. I watched it. I heard about it. I read about it. And then I went online and watched the Rutgers match against the former Lehigh heavyweight. And it wasn't as bad as I thought. But at the same time, you don't want to bring that negative attention to you, you know, because then you have referees looking for every little thing. And I think he's smart enough to grow from that.
Certainly has the makings of a 4-time All-American. Anxious to watch him wrestle Kyle Snyder.
Well, that's not going to happen this season, but maybe on the Olympic level.
Yep.
That would be an interesting match. Although I think Stevenson's more likely to be a heavyweight, where Snyder wrestles down around that 220 weight class. So.
Upper body tie-up here in the closing seconds of the first period. A quick takedown and injury when Sweany took down Jordan Wood. And then position choice and an escape gives him a 3-0 lead now after 1 period of wrestling.
I really thought Wood would really attack heavily to try to get that takedown in this period, but I think maybe that injury slowed him down and made him think twice about getting into another scramble.
Yeah, he definitely looks like it's affecting him out there. Sweany with the choice, chooses bottom here as Rob Cole looks on. This is certainly a match that if Sweany were able to defeat Wood, and a locking hands call there, so 1-1. So it's now 5-0, and all of a sudden Wood in a pretty big hole against Jeramy Sweany.
Oh, nice shot, nice crackdown. He's got to get to that far hip. He's got the foot. That should be 2 there.
And it is. So there is the takedown. And Sweany will kind of bail out here. Wood's going to cut him and start going to work on his feet. Another shot attempt by Wood. Trying to stay inbounds, cuts to a double, and there's 2 with the hands down.
You know, I would try to maybe build up a little bit of riding time here.
Good point.
Instead of cutting him right away, make him earn it. Take a little bit out of him. Make him get up to his feet. Build up 5, 10, 15 seconds and cut him. A little bit on each takedown. Because that riding time point might become a factor at the end of this match.
Yeah, he goes ahead and gives the free release to Sweany. As you saw, look at the one takedown by Wood, and really had our first big Grace Hall roar of the afternoon. As Wood now trying to, as my partner would say, break his opponent with all these takedowns back to back. Mountain Hawks with an 11-7 advantage in takedowns.
The fans really want a stall call here, and Wood doing a great job of just attacking that head, getting him underneath there.
Another takedown for Wood using that front head and arm. Now he's locked up a cradle on the near side.
He's become pretty good with that this year.
He lost the grip on the cradle, but still cranking the neck.
7-6 here, and if he can ride him out, he's going to build up riding time here.
Crowd again looking for a stalling call here. As Wood just really putting all his weight on top of Sweany, who has not made much of an effort to get to his base. Now the arm on the back, 3 seconds to go, and it'll wind up being a 7-6 lead for Sweany going into the 3rd period. Wood with the choice, and it will be bottom for him. Here's a look off that front head and arm of Wood getting the last takedown in the period there.
Yeah, really good spin behind. You got a guy on bottom, his head's kind of hanging down, spin behind. So Wood really benefiting from working out with former Lehigh NCAA champion Zach Ray, who I don't see on the bench today. He might be with some other wrestlers coaching at another location. But
a little bit of a delay here because there was a false start called against Sweany, and a second of advantage time came off. It was 103, went to 102. They put it back at 103. Wood to his feet, trying to get out before the 1 minute mark. Cannot, but he does get the escape, so we're tied. And he's quickly in on a shot, trying to cover. That's got to be either a takedown or stalling, and it's a takedown for Wood, and he's got his first lead of the match. The crowd
and I wouldn't be worried about that riding time. The way Jordan Wood's been wrestling is he is going to get in and attack. And you could see Sweany fading a little bit here in the 2nd period. And Wood has found his rhythm.
Yeah, you can see the fitness of Wood a little bit better than Sweany right now. 9-8 lead for Wood, who shot quickly off of the whistle. Now trying to scramble for a takedown here.
If he can come out that back door, reach around the hip. He's trying to say he's got the far ankle.
Danger call, 2+ back points, presumably.
If he could step in and turk that leg, he might be able to score back points, but it's been all Jordan Wood. And you got to believe that having a workout partner like Zach Ray in the room, who just transitioned from RTC athlete to volunteer coach on the staff this year, he's been able to work more of a coaching role now.
Wood with the escape given to Sweany, leading by 2. Has a 1:16 of advantage time. Horrible shot by Sweany. Wood just pounces for 2, cuts him again. It's 13-10. Another shot by Wood. Well, he is just wearing Sweany out right now. 45 seconds to wrestle. Trying to improve his position underneath on Sweany, walking the knees under.
Cut to that far knee right there.
Yep, another 2 for Wood.
I'd let him up again.
Coaches
He's got a
are
shot at taking him down to his back.
Yep. Oh, he goes right into a mixer. Just lost it, though. Oh, man. And a swing and a miss on a headlock there. 15-12. Wood is leading in a barn burner in heavyweight.
You know, I don't know if it was a swing and a miss, maybe like a slide and a slide off, but what great action here in the 3rd period here at heavyweight here.
Wood has advantage time clinched. He is going to win this match with the escape at the end, 17-12, a match that he trailed 5-0 and outscores Sweany 17-7 the rest of the way. That is a full 7 minutes from the big man, Jordan Wood. And that makes it 16-6 in the team score.
I was not expecting almost 30 points scored at the heavyweight bout here today.
Just a takedown clinic by Jordan Wood. He's a very fleet-footed heavyweight, but we're going to see a very quick wrestler here for Cornell, Vitali Arujau, who, in speaking with the guys from Cornell prior to this match, that he is basically the quickest wrestler you're ever going to see. And he's down to 125 after starting the season at 133, has not lost a match at this weight. Lehigh has not won a match at 125 in a dual meet. So it's Luke Resnick and Vitali Arujau here at 125.
And I guess the 125-pounder should be the quickest guy on the mat, but you don't really hear coaches say that very often. So for them to say, this guy is quick, keep your eyes open.
Yeah, I'd say he's pretty quick. No takedown yet, though, for the freshman from Syosset, New York, a 4-time New York State champion who ended his career with 173 consecutive wins, finished his career 216-1. 12-1 mark in the 2018-19 freshman season.
Did you see those legs moving? They did not stop.
Resnick, a redshirt freshman out of Chester Springs, PA. Owen J. Roberts High School. 1-5 on the season. Or 1-6 after last night's loss as Arujau gets around behind for the takedown. First points of the match. He's going to try to cut Resnick here. And escape is given.
And Cornell knows it. They're down 16-6 here. They know they need to get some bonus points in this match. And what a great guy for them to be able to put out there, because he's got the speed, quickness, and technique to be able to do that. Resnick's got to find a way to protect himself and slow him down just a little bit here.
Another takedown and escape. So 4-2 the score. Just about halfway through the first period here at 125 pounds. We started this dual meet at 157. So 3 matches left after this. Lehigh holding a 16-6 lead. So as Scott mentioned, Cornell looking for some bonus points here over the last couple bouts to try to sneak out of Lehman Turner Arena with a victory. Out of bounds right in front of the scorer's table. Here is that quickness of Arujau. And you can already see a little bit of frustration on Resnick as he gets smacked in the back of the head by Arujau getting the free release.
He is going to be difficult to slow down there. Maybe I thought maybe Resnick was going to go to a Russian tie there. That might help a little bit, but.
Yeah, really, you want to try to make the match your speed if you're Resnick here, and tying up the wrists like he's doing now is the kind of defense he's going to need to play. But yeah, just really quick reshot there. Another takedown, and it's 6-2.
Another freshman that they are high on this year. They feel like he can certainly be an All-American, and maybe even, you know, you got Spencer Lee at 125, and you have Rivera now from Northwestern knocking him off, taking over the #1 spot. Some people might say, you know, Spencer Lee, in my opinion, he did not look right in that match. But I will say this, Rivera is that good. He is that good. And it's not a gimme win for Spencer Lee. Now, what's going to benefit Spencer Lee is
Resnick.
Nationals are in Pittsburgh this year.
Right,
and he's from Pittsburgh coming in from Iowa.
So you see the conversation here, was there a takedown or not? And the officials are going to say that there is in fact going to be a review of the takedown, not the one that you saw right there, but the one that was on the edge of the mat. They're looking for, mentioned was his hand along the midline. We'll have to take a look at that action right near the scorer's table there to see if there was in fact points scored. So let's see here. Does Resnick get out? Or are there back points that should have been awarded?
Oh,
so what they're looking...
They're questioning the 1-point escape by Resnick.
I think there should be an escape there.
Yeah, because you had supporting points by Arujau in bounds. You had both feet in bounds there, and I think they're going to award the 1 there.
And I think what Nate Chapman was asking his
locking hands.
His partner Jesse Rawls Jr. there was no escape. How about that? I think he was asking if his hands broke from being across the midline of his back, but they did not overturn that call, so Resnick will stay down.
Cover.
A little surprised with that. Resnick gets to his feet.
And that would have been a big escape here with only 5 seconds remaining in the period.
Yep, and Arujau will wind up taking a 1:01 advantage time into the second period with 3 takedowns and a 6-2 lead.
Resnick's hanging tough here. He's getting out. You know, the speed has been giving him problems, but he's been competing well. He's had a great season so far, knocking off some good wrestlers. And he can go with these guys.
Yeah, he's kind of playing the part of Cornell's Adam Santoro, who went up against Gordon Wolf and really gave a good 7-minute effort, losing just by minor decision. There's the escape. And it's now 7-2.
Resnick squeezed out as much riding time as he could there from Arujau. Nice job getting an extra 5 or 6 seconds knocked off that riding time, which could be a factor when it comes down to getting a major decision.
And we haven't seen much of Arujau in the top position as far as is he capable of turning Resnick, but he goes right into a tilt there, gets 1 swipe. No back points. Cornell is yet to get near fall points in this duel. Lehigh has a couple sets.
If I'm Arujau, I'm going up on my feet. I'm getting the major decision first. Resnick hasn't found an answer yet for some of those takedowns.
Yep.
Get your major decision, then work for your back points and maybe get a tech fall. But it's too easy to stall in the bottom position in college wrestling.
Yeah, and it seems that Resnick really making not much of an attempt to do much on the bottom. Not that he can with that high figure 4 on his right leg from Arujau.
But he's not going to get hit for stalling because Arujau is pretty much staying parallel the whole time. He's not really changing off to anything else. So it's actually favoring Resnick here.
There's your stalling warning against Resnick. That comes in the closing seconds of the second period. 9-2 is the score. Resnick will choose the bottom position. A 1:54 advantage time for Rob Cole's 125-pounder, Vitali Arujau. Freshman has looked really good here.
He's got the major locked up here with the riding time, but he's going to have to ride him out. He may want to work on top if he can get an extra stall call. That gives him that little cushion for an escape, but there's still the potential of a reversal here. So
Resnick rolling through that tilt attempt from Arujau.
Work here, gentlemen. Top and bottom. Let's work.
2 of the best control rides in wrestling, in my opinion, is legs and a tight waist. An effective tight waist. Iowa as a team they don't do legs as much, but they do really effective tight waist. What people don't understand is tight waists actually control the hips. You're pulling them in tight and pushing down on your body on top. It's almost impossible to come up off the mat unless the top guy allows you to.
Again, that high figure 4 from Arujau controlling Resnick, and takes a look at the clock and says, you know what, nothing's happening here. I got to work takedowns. And look at that, right in on a quick double, giving the escape and then getting the takedown. He's going to play this takedown game, and I don't blame him for doing it.
He's going to eventually look for near fall points right off the takedown. Resnick's got to...
Out they go. 13-5 is the score with 44 seconds to go. Riding time is locked up, so it is basically a major as you see some of the takedowns put on there by Vitali Arujau. If Resnick can somehow find a way to get a takedown here, it would make things interesting, but Arujau gets the takedown and cuts him quickly.
He needs a 6-point move, and I haven't seen any indication that he has one in there.
Closing seconds of the match here. 9-point lead for Arujau. And 2 is given right at the buzzer. It's all academic though. 17-6 and then an advantage time point to make it 18-6. A 4-point major decision for Cornell at 16-10. So 18-6 the final, and we'll go to 133 in a toss-up match between Brandon Paetzell and Chaz Tucker. And we'll have a lot to do about how this duel turns out. Before that match, I want to remind you that Lehigh returns to Lehman Turner Arena at Grace Hall in 2 weeks for duels against nationally ranked Arizona State and Virginia Tech. Don't miss out on all the excitement. Get your tickets now at LehighTickets.com. Saturday night match against the Sun Devils and a Sunday afternoon match between the Hokies and the Mountains.
What a weekend, huh?
That'll be a fun one.
Number 13, number 16 in the country coming in. One of the best pound-for-pound wrestlers in the country at Arizona State there.
There's your matchup here at 133. Chaz Tucker, the junior for Cornell. Brandon Paetzell, the sophomore for Lehigh, by way of Rutgers Phillipsburg High School. Tucker, a junior out of Worcester, Massachusetts, a Blair Academy wrestler, was a 2-time Prep National champion, a 4-time finalist. Finished second in the EIWA last year and was an NCAA qualifier. He wound up beating Drexel's Austin DeSanto in the semifinals. DeSanto now out at Iowa. Who would have thought Spencer Lee and Austin DeSanto would wind up as college teammates?
I know, I know.
Who wrote that script?
You know, DeSanto doesn't need a room like Iowa to have an incredible motor.
Right.
He really doesn't. But it's just kind of ironic that he ended up there.
So here Paetzell trying to force the issue against Chaz Tucker. Paetzell a winner by fall last night over David Campbell of Bucknell, his 20th career win. Front head and arm here by Campbell, or Tucker rather, and they will separate. Crowd kind of sensing the tension here at 133 pounds, the importance of this bout with Lehigh leading by 6 in the team score, and a huge takedown there for Tucker.
Wow, just a great demonstration of good positioning and unbelievable strength by Tucker. Speed, positioning, and strength is incredible.
Cornell has presumably some bonus points in their back pocket with Yianni Diakomihalis at 141, and then 149, a toss-up between Cortlandt Schuyler of Lehigh and Jonathan Furnas of Cornell. So a win here for Paetzell could put Lehigh in pretty good shape going into those final 2 bouts.
This is going to get interesting. If Tucker wins this match, we're looking at a 16-13 duel. Yianni has been pretty much dominating everybody this year, so you've got to be looking at bonus points. If he gets a tech fall, they need to win 149 with a regular decision. Lehigh would win the dual meet 19-18. But as we know in wrestling, not everything always goes as planned.
Good scramble between two nationally ranked wrestlers here. Paetzell 11 and Tucker 14 right at the end of the period here. Very close to a takedown for Tucker, but watch that whizzer left hand by Paetzell. Oh, that's the two earlier. But right at the end of that period, a good job to not yield points from Paetzell.
Red, you're set, sir. Don't move. Green, cover legal play.
Paetzell doing a good job, you know, keeping this match. He's kind of controlling the pace a lot of times. I'm surprised Tucker doesn't pull the trigger more often and take more aggressive shots.
Yeah. So Paetzell going to work on top here. Tucker in good position getting to his feet. And he'll separate. It's now a 3-1 lead for the Big Red here at 133.
Paetzell with his hand wrapped there, and you could see him grabbing it there during that initial break and kind of shaking it out there. So that's something to watch here as this match goes on.
And he's still kind of pawing at it as they come together and separate. I'm sure that's something that Chaz Tucker has noticed as well.
You don't think another wrestler would grab that hand, like if he's locked in on a shot and try to grab that particular hand and break the grip, do you?
Never. It's like in baseball when somebody fouls one off of their own shin and then you throw a curveball down and into them on the very next pitch, you know?
Well, you know, from being a former wrestler yourself, when you're injured, if you don't have to be taped up and show your opponent, you do not tape it up. So this has got to be a pretty serious injury if it's taped up like that.
So 35 seconds to go here as Tucker dives in on the leg. Like Paetzell had the initial shot attempt, but just kind of got matadored by Tucker, who's in
His
pretty deep.
His positioning is excellent. He gets right to good position and then holds it steady, and then looks to finish when the time's right.
Comes up to a cradle and Paetzell's in trouble.
This could be huge for Cornell.
10 seconds to go in the period. Paetzell fighting for his life. No back points have been awarded yet. There's a count. So only a 2 count.
1 second away from 2 extra points.
So that could have been a 6-point move, and instead it's just a 4-point move to make it 7-1 Tucker. 2-2 there.
No, that was a 2 back points.
Yeah.
With the 3 count, right? Oh, so takedown and 2. 4 point, right.
So here's a look at that cradle, and Paetzell, first of all, a great job
of he stayed out of near fall points there.
Yeah. Didn't get to the 45 degrees.
And you can see he has a great view on that right there.
So an optional start here. Paetzell comes to his feet, and it's 7-2. Riding time right now, not a factor. Good low single by Paetzell.
Shot. Beautiful. He's got to finish quicker, though.
Yeah, you allowed Tucker to kind of grab his ankle and get into a scramble.
This could be huge because Lehigh needs to keep this to a regular decision. A major for Cornell here could really have a huge impact on the final.
2-point takedown for Paetzell.
Big takedown for Lehigh.
Makes it 7-4. Now Paetzell kind of deciding what to do. And if I'm him, I'd try to ride out here. I don't know that you want to get into a takedown match with Tucker.
Tucker's a little less quick on bottom than he is on his feet, for sure.
Stalling warning quickly called. Now Lehigh's bench was looking like they were trying to tell Paetzell to cut him, and they are.
You don't want a stall call on top because that's going to motivate the bottom guy to move. You want him to lay there flat for a while.
So the escape given after the stalling warning, and that makes it 8-4 with a minute to wrestle.
Boy, you could even tell. Look at Paetzell, a lot more aggressive with his tie-ups here, attacking the head. This is what he's going to have to do, keep him busy. He's not only wrestling for himself here, he's wrestling for this dual meet victory, and he's got to be smart.
And I would say, Scott, through the bulk of this dual meet, Lehigh has looked to be the better team in the third period of matches.
I would agree with you, except maybe at 197 there, but overall, I would agree. They've outconditioned Cornell in most of them. I don't expect that to happen at 141 now.
So Paetzell, at least right now, barring a disaster, looks like won't be yielding bonus points. He's still kind of keeping the foot on the gas here, looking for his own takedown, but Tucker Gets the double leg right on the edge. Nothing awarded yet.
He almost had it, and what a...
And they go out with 5 seconds.
kept wrestling.
He did.
Think
Very
about
close.
the magnitude of this weekend. Lehigh, right here. Take a look at this.
This is the takedown for Paetzell.
This is a big takedown because this is a difference between a major decision and a regular decision.
Absolutely. So the final score in this one will be 8-4 Chaz Tucker over Paetzell. And that makes it 16-13 going into the 141-pound match with the #1 ranked wrestler in the nation and defending national champion Yianni Diakomihalis. He'll be facing Ryan Pomrinca of Lehigh. As you see your score there, the Mountain Hawks have not trailed in this duel.
And that's 6 syllables right there in the last name, so most people just call him Yianni, which he is perfectly okay with.
I'm sure he is. He's one of those athletes that, you go out, you win a national championship as a freshman, you can be a one-named athlete. Quick single here. And Yianni finishes for the takedown. And he knows his job here, Scott. He's got to go out there and put points on the board, maybe even look for a fall.
Right, let's do the math, right? So
the best that
let's
Cornell
say
can
Lehigh
be.
wins a regular decision at 149. It's 19-13, right?
Yep.
He knows he needs a pin or a tech fall.
Yeah, to get to criteria, which we're going to start looking up right now.
He can get 6 points for a tech fall, correct? If there's near fall points awarded, no, it's going to be 5.
It used to be a while ago that if you just did takedown, let him up, you'd only get 4 points for like a major decision for a tech fall, but they got rid of that, so it is 5 points regardless now.
So they really need a
6
fall here.
Yeah, they need 6 to at least have a chance to get to criteria.
And you might say, okay, he's looking like he's wrestling the tech fall. He's just trying to tire him out
and
get him worn out a little bit.
Yeah,
and
maybe
find fall later.
Find something feet to back, but for right now, just going to work the takedown game against Ryan Pomrinca.
I started saying this earlier. The alumni are going to be ecstatic. If Lehigh pulls off this victory, Lehigh just won 2 matches in a row. When's the last time that happened?
Last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a tough season, as we mentioned, for the Mountain Hawks with injuries and things of that nature. We showed you the graphic of that tough schedule that they've wrestled this year. More nationally ranked opponents coming into Lehman Turner Arena a couple weekends from now.
They might be frustrated, but I can tell you what, Pat Santoro is a fantastic coach. You could see it in some of these backups, the way that they're wrestling and competing for Lehigh. They're just not at the level of some of those starters that they've lost. They've lost the first 3 weight classes for the year.
A 6-3 score here with a little bit over a minute to go in the first period. High crotch attempt by Diakomihalis. He'll finish, and will also get a stall warning called against Pomrinca. So he's up 8-3 and just looking very comfortable right now.
See him slowing the pace down a little. Pomrinca got a pretty good defense. Obviously, it doesn't look that way against Yianni, but he actually does, and pinning him might not be an easy feat, but I think his strategy is going to try to build up points, get him frustrated, and maybe try to look for that opportunity for a fall along the way.
Potentially dangerous is called right there. 26 seconds to wrestle, they'll restart.
That wasn't too bad, but they watched that foot pulling it outside the knee too much. Puts a lot of strain on those tendons there and ligaments.
Kind of same position here.
One red. Watch that knee. Watch that knee. Stop.
Quick snap, same single. Man, that is just
you cannot keep
really
him
quick
off of that leg, can you?
Now, Pomrinca has that ankle laced with his forearm there to not give up a takedown in the closing moments. 2 given right at the buzzer. So it's 11-4 now for Diakomihalis over Ryan Pomrinca.
I'm surprised he called that too, but I'm actually 100% okay with it because of the position that went Pomrinca. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but a lot of referees might not call that a takedown.
I'm with you on that. It could have gone either way. Did certainly appear that even though Pomrinca had that ankle lace, that he wasn't really able to improve his position, and Diakomihalis in control, as he has been for the better part of this match.
Well, and he had a split second to make that decision before the end of the period, which I thought was the right call. So 12-4 yet. We're in the second period. Pomrinca trying to somehow slow Yianni down here and keep him to a major, even a tech fall would be huge at this point going in to the final bout at 149 after this match. And there you see Yianni again, just, he's like a magnet on that right ankle of Pomrinca. And this right here kind of benefits Pomrinca. If he could just create these scrambles where,
Hey, 2 points.
where he could just prevent him from stalling, which I was about to say, and look, he ends up picking up 2 there. That slippery ankle. That looked like the Vermonster there.
A little Robert Hamlin reference. Crowd now wanting stalling called on Diakomihalis underneath.
And Pomrinca's good on top.
Yes,
so
he is.
He's got to stay behind the hips here, though.
Got a tight waist and a half. Now he gets down on an ankle. Stalling count being issued and now an escape given. So it is 13-6. 30 seconds to go in the second period. So we're not in bonus point territory yet for Cornell.
So instead of 14-4, we're looking at 13-6.
Yeah, and as long as this match does not end in a fall, we're looking at winner take all at 149. Good defense by Pomrinca.
Pomrinca's confidence has certainly evolved into the second period here.
You take down the #1 guy in the country and get that ovation from your home crowd, you're going to be feeling pretty good about yourself going into the third period.
Or you just took a baseball bat to a sleeping bear.
That's true.
So we'll see which one arises here. But actually, I think Pomrinca has a lot of momentum going towards him.
Diakomihalis started with the optional start, then crunches down on Pomrinca.
Well, sometimes what happens is when you're forced to wrestle to get a tech fall, sometimes you can wear yourself out a little bit.
Sure.
And that seems to be
He certainly
maybe
had it
happening a little bit here.
Yeah, he had that motor going the first minute or so of this match when he was scoring takedowns in rapid succession.
Beautiful high crotch. Timed it perfectly when he was stepping in.
They've been in this position an awful lot today. It's been stopped for potentially dangerous a couple of times. As Pomrinca's grabbing his own shin to reinforce that whizzer, really kind of cranking down a stalemate call.
Trying to step over it and boot that leg in as well. I'm surprised when you need time to your advantage. I'm surprised he's not getting to his finishes much quicker. He's he's getting in and allowing scramble situations, which is eating up the clock. But give credit to Pomrinca too.
Little arm drag attempt from Pomrinca, and they're back in that same position again. A little bit of a scramble. Pomrinca grabbing that ankle.
Look at the confidence in his defense here, changing directions, going from side to side. You can definitely see he's feeling his mojo right here in the third.
It's a 6-point lead for Diakomihalis. It looks right now like riding time is not going to be a factor unless Diakomihalis gets a quick takedown and rides out. And with that in mind, he needs a takedown just for the major decision, and that means he can't let Pomrinca escape either in the final 30 seconds here.
30 seconds to go in regulation, 30 seconds.
Some side-to-side movement there. Pomrinca, good defense. Remember, he has a couple stalling calls against him. That's important to keep in mind.
You mentioned, you know, a lot of the Lehigh guys looking in better condition going into the third. Here's another matchup against the #1 guy in the country. You got to give the conditioning edge to Pomrinca here in the third period.
Absolutely. Final seconds are going to roll off, and Pomrinca despite the loss, will get a standing ovation from the Lehman-Turner Arena crowd and his head coach, Pat Santoro, as that will make it 16-all going into the final bout with a 13-7 victory for Yianni Diakomihalis. So it is winner take all now at 149, the 10th bout and final bout this afternoon. Jonathan Furnas from Cornell and Cortlandt Schuyler for Lehigh. Furnas a senior, 13-4 this season. Schuyler a senior, 6-3 this season. 8-3 win last night over Matt Colonia for Schuyler. And for Furnas, a senior from Powell, Ohio, Olentangy Liberty High School, 53-25 career mark. So tied at 16, it'll come down to this matchup of seniors here at Lehman-Turner Arena. No past history between these two wrestlers. Schuyler coming off the season that saw him take 4th in the EIWA and NCAA qualifier for the Mountain Hawks at a Manheim Township High School, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Needless to say, the first takedown in this bout will be huge. One minute in to this first period. Good high crotch shot there from Furnas. Schuyler trying to fight it off, and he does. Well done off of a very deep shot there from Furnas and Cornell. Schuyler's father, Pete, graduated Lehigh '83, was a wrestler here, 2 EIWA titles, and was an All-America, finishing 3rd in 1983 at 134 pounds for Lehigh.
This would be a great way for them to finish a dual meet tonight in Lehigh fashion.
It's going to be pretty loud in here if Schuyler gets his arm raised at the end of this one. But a lot of work yet to be done. With 1:15 to go in a scoreless first period, both wrestlers trying to figure out the best plan of attack. Furnas had a deep shot early, fended off by Schuyler, who favors the underhook here. Kind of a non-traditional duel today, if you will, with the wrestling starting at 157. And then the way those first two matches went were just strange, for lack of a better term, with Josh Humphreys of Lehigh winning by an injury default over Fredy Stroker. Then Gordon Wolf, who took it's probably about a 6 or 7 minute timeout for concussion protocol, came back and won his bout 10-6. Lehigh got another victory from Jordan Kutler, was up 13-0 after 3 before Cornell knew what hit him.
You could make the argument that this is actually the healthiest team that Lehigh's put out on the mat this year.
Right.
And for Cornell, they've gotten hit with some injuries here recently. So
looks like we'll have a scoreless first period between Schuyler and Furnas here at 149 pounds. Furnas will go underneath. You mentioned with recruits, why do you come to Lehigh facing the stiff competition? No, you come to Lehigh to be put in a position like this. You get out there, try to win a match to have your team knock off a top 10 team in the country. Schuyler trying to do that for the Mountain Hawks, down 1-0 after the escape to Furnas.
Nice shot by Furnas. Boy, was that a great leg attack, and you saw Schuyler there just really do a good job of staying relaxed and getting out of that.
Yeah, some really interesting kind of like shimmying out of that. Not really a typical way to get out of a shot like that, but he shook his hips and got free. So 2 good shots by Furnas in this match. Schuyler hasn't really sniffed a takedown yet. trying to control the front head and arm.
Lehigh 2-7 coming into this duel. Whether they end up 3-7 or 2-8, how do you not put them in the top 25?
You have to after this one.
But do you really want to, if you're ranking service, do you really want to put a team that's 2-8 in the top 25 or 3-7? That probably what hurts them a lot in the rankings.
Yeah, strong resume though, strength of schedule and things of that nature. But yeah, the eyeball test of being 2-8 or 3-7. But
and you have 2 All-Americans in the lineup.
Right.
You have a couple guys ranked pretty high with Price. You have Wood, 2 top 8 guys. You have 4 potential All-Americans right there. And you have 2 All-Americans and a potential one with Karam that are done for the year with injuries.
yeah, bad news for Luke Karam coming out of the South Beach duels. Looks like he's not going to be competing the rest of the season at 141 pounds for the Mountain Hawks. Final 10 seconds of the second period. This thing has all the makings of going to overtime.
They're really taking it right to the end here.
Yeah. Tie dual meet 16-16. And Schuyler down underneath Furnas to begin the third period.
You know, very cautious. A little bit of an element of wrestling not to lose, although I would say
Caution on the top wrestler.
you have to give Furnas, maybe he probably took a few more risks in this match so far than Schuyler. So we'll see. Maybe conditioning plays a factor in this third period.
Well, Schuyler out in 2 seconds, so we're tied at 1. It's going to come down to a takedown.
The exact same amount of time.
Yep, riding
That's
time is
Furnas.
zeroed out.
The crowd's starting to get a little anxious.
Mentioned that Lehigh wrestlers have looked the better in the bulk of third periods this afternoon. See if Schuyler can dig down to try to find a decisive takedown for both this bout and the dual meet.
Or we go to 7 overtimes like LSU did.
We'll be here for a while. A little bit over a minute to go in this bout in regulation. Schuyler trying to engage a little upper body here with Furnas. Furnas doesn't really want that. Just hand and head fighting in the center of the mat. So we get down to the final 30 seconds. Shot by Furnas. Schuyler fends that one off. No stalling warnings against either wrestler in this bout yet. Shot attempt by Schuyler. Kind of a one and done there. No reshot or counter.
I thought you might see a drag to a spin behind off of that, but waiting for something a little more safe, I think. Nice shot
here. 3 seconds to go. Schuyler will defend it. And time expires. So we go to sudden victory. A 1 minute period. They've cleared the riding time. Takedown wins the bout. Takedown wins the dual meet from a sold out Lehman Turner Arena. Schuyler gets that front head and arm. Tries to snap
where
down.
He wants to score off the spin behind.
Tried a little knee tap. Wasn't there. Duck under to a double. Fended off by Furnas. Right in front of the Cornell bench. They go out. There's a stalling warning for backing off the mat. That's big. That is a big stalling warning. 37 seconds to go.
I'm a little surprised, but I'm not surprised. We've gone over 7 minutes without an offensive point scored. I guess somebody should be hit by that.
Yeah, automatic backing off the mat the way he did. And there's the 2-point takedown for Schuyler. The Mountain Hawks win it.
Schuyler does it.
In sudden victory, Cortlandt Schuyler, a 3-1 winner for the Mountain Hawks, and they knock off Cornell 19-16.
Coach Santoro and his staff can breathe a little easier this week.
Here's the winner.
Schuyler just was so persistent in overtime, and there you see him with a little snap down, spin behind, salutes the crowd. I'm sure his dad is extremely proud right now.
That he is. Victorious Pat Santoro and the Mountain Hawks 19-16 winners over Cornell this afternoon. We'll come back to recap this one right after this. Stay with us.